Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval Creed. Today we'll be going over the newest German battleship that has Yorck replacement, or as I have renamed her, Ersatz Yorck. Now this is the current event reward ship, and afterwards you can also purchase her for diamonds or gems. Um, Honestly, I'm really not a big fan of this ship, but we're going to get to that in a moment. So I do want to let you know that there has been a couple changes made to the game. Not really big changes, mind you, but enough that we're going to have some more videos. So to start with, we now have Black Prince. I've renamed her Warrior, and we're going to be going over a video on her next. She is a prism ship, and she's actually quite decent, but her playstyle is not really how you would expect it, and we'll go into why that is when we go over her. But she's a little fun little ship. And we can finally see what the Tier 10 British heavy cruiser will look like. So we've seen Drake before, and well, this next one is quite impressive. It's originally called Duke of Edinburgh. Since we already have an Edinburgh, I am going to rename her, actually already have renamed her Admiral. Uh, and this is what she looks like. Not only does she have quad guns, but she also has 9-inch guns, or the 234 millimeters, which is actually exactly what I thought she would have when we first saw a picture of her. So that's pretty interesting. So she has 12 9-inch guns among all these other smaller secondaries, which are literally just daring turrets. She has torpedoes on the side here, and she has quite amount of a lot of AA as well, including an aircraft right here as well. I'll be going over all the heavy cruisers for the British tech tree once this one is released, but they are looking very, very nice. And I have played quite a few games in all of these, except maybe Drake. I haven't really played a lot of Drake games yet, but Admiral is pretty impressive. She's going to be a very good damage dealing ship. Her Alpha and HE DPM are just, well, and AP DPM are really, really good. And we'll be going over them all once we go over this ship. There has been a couple changes to a couple Russian destroyers as well. Tashkent and Grozovoy now have a second set of guns that we will have to go over. It kind of makes them HE spammers, so you just kind of spam HE on like battleship superstructure, and you have a lot more HE piercing, but you don't really need it. Though the increase in fire chance was pretty nice as well. But you lose damage, you lose rate of fire as well. That's quite important for a destroyer. And then same thing for Grozovoy. You can see here. We'll be trying out these guns just to see how they work. But honestly, if you're shooting a target that you can't pen with HE, then either you switch to armor piercing or you aim for the superstructure. Because you can pretty much pen anything with the superstructure with 130 millimeters. Besides that, there's not really that much difference. Well, no, actually there is that change to Robin. She now has that consumable. They did make a change to that. We'll have to go over that as well. It's not terribly effective, but then they changed it afterwards. I played the game with her, so it may be a little bit better. Who knows? We'll see. I will have to play another couple games and see how it works. But we are here today to go over Ersatz Yorck. Now, if you've watched any of my previous videos for the last week or two, you know that I'm not really a fan of this ship. Yes, she has good guns. They're actually pretty accurate as well. That was one thing that was brought up to me in a comment from a fellow, subscriber. The accuracy on this ship, on paper, is pretty good. In game, it doesn't feel that much better, honestly. I run my Bayern with a full accuracy build. Well, I have her secondary build right now because I have the crew skill of secondary. But with full accuracy, she kind of feels the same way as Bayern. That being said, she's not all bad. She does have a speed boost, which is unusual for a German battleship. She's the only one that has it. She's more like a battle cruiser, anyways. So she has a speed boost, but still, that's not really anything special. Dunkirk, which is also a gem ship at or pretty close to this tier, she's faster without speed boost, and she's even faster with speed boost. So even then, you're still outmatched by Dunkirk. Her secondaries, yes, the casemates are armor piercing, and the on deck 88s are high explosive, but you only have a secondary range of 4 kilometers, so you can't even run her with a full secondary build. It's not going to be that effective. Her AA is the worst of all battleships at this tier, so carriers are just going to feast on you. And your armor, while not terrible, this is one of the few German battleships, or I should say capital ships, that you can pretty easily score citadels on. If you aim right underneath the turrets, like it's a Yamato, pretty decent chance you're going to get some good damage. And even if you don't, this entire upper belt for the casemates is just a giant shell trap. Any armor piercing shell that hits there is going to arm, and it's just going to do a ton of damage. So nothing really special there either. Your health is pretty respectable. It's only like the third or fourth highest at this tier though. So yeah, let's just actually just go through the stats first, I guess. So we have 63,900 health, 21% torpedo damage resistance. The belt is just short of 12 inches. Maximum is 350 or about 14. So that's probably on the turret faces right there. We have 380mm guns, the same as Bayern, 2.4 rounds a minute, 45-second, 180-degree turn time, 800 meters per second initial velocity for HE and AP. The HE piercing is pretty good, as always on German battleships at 95mm, and the fire chance is not terrible either, but I really don't think you should be using high explosive. Main range is 18.5 kilometers, nothing stellar. Secondary range is 4 kilometers, again, not anything special. And our maximum speed is 26.5 knots. Another thing that I've mentioned before is that this is a matchmaking tier 7. So that means you're going up against Gneisenau now when you're comparing these two ships, which I'll bet she only does have 3 twin 15-inch gun turrets, but her secondaries are pretty decent. She has torpedoes, her armor is a lot better, and she even goes faster. So I don't really know why they have her at tier 7. I really feel like a lower tier, even like 6.5 or even 6.0, could do this ship a lot better, but they have her at 7.0, so that's what we have to deal with. Honestly, if she wasn't a reward for an event, I don't think I would get this ship, or at least not now, knowing how she is. She's not terrible, but she's extremely average. There's nothing spectacular about her. So there's that. All right, so yeah, so your health is pretty okay. Your guns are not terrible, but nothing special. Your AA is trash. Your secondaries, if you get close enough, they're good, but if you get that close, you're being citadelled. So yeah, your speed is meh. It's not the best, not the worst either, but there's definitely ships that are going to be faster than you. And your speed boost, yes, that's a nice little trick, but you also have Renown, you also have Hood, you also have Dunkirk, that all, well, even Lyon too, have speed boost as well. So even that's not anything spectacular. So all in all, the ship is extremely average and slightly below average, but she's not a bad ship. I mean, she still does damage, it's just nothing special. So let's toss her into game and see what we can do. Alright, so we have an Illustrious, a Rodney, Nagato, Hood, Ersatz, Yorck, a Fubuki, and a Udachi. So no cruisers at all, which is kind of unfortunate because as a battle cruiser, this ship is actually very, very good at just deleting and taking on cruisers. Your guns are big enough to overmatch any cruiser pretty much at this tier, and your speed means you can keep up with them pretty decently, especially with your speed boost. I also have speed boost or speed buffs and health buffs applied, as well as other buffs. So do keep that in mind. This is not the base ship. I have put a little bit of work into her as well as crew skills, but mainly I saved up the free XP I had for Black Prince and maxed out a lot of her crew skills. Alright, so as mentioned, I do have her as a full accuracy build at this time. And it does kind of pay off, but even at longer ranges, it still feels like you're just sailing a shotgun. When it hits, it hurts, but you have to hit first. Alright, so we're going to use a speed boost. It is a very nice speed boost. It lasts 135 seconds, which is pretty decent. I keep looking down some games and it's like, wow, my speed boost is still active. And then it reloads pretty quickly as well. So we're just going to go over here for right now. Let's see here. So Nagato has bigger guns than us. Hood, she's faster than us. Ersatz Yorck, same as me. Rodney and Rodney, they have bigger guns but are slower. Destroyers are not very nice to this ship either. You can't really rely on your secondaries too much. They're okay on cruisers, especially with the armor-piercing casemates, but the high explosive and armor-piercing shells just don't really do a lot to destroyers. And against battleships they're okay too if you get a broadside, but it's not going to be like the massive secondary damage numbers you see on other German battleships. In terms of AA, just hide from the carrier as best as you can. It's a bot carrier, so obviously I don't have much to worry about, or at least not right now. But if you ever are focused down, there's really not much you can do about it. Oh, we didn't even go over AA. Well, we can take a look at that afterwards. But yeah, like I said, I do have speed buffs, but I am going at 35.4 knots. But base speed for Gneiss now is 32 knots. So you're really not getting much. And take about 5 knots off, because that's what my speed buffs are, and you're only going about 30, 31 knots or so. So it's about the same speed as Gneiss now, even with speed boost. So there is the long range shotgun. No hits yet. See, we have a Rodney over here. Okay, so we're okay right now. Looks like the carrier's coming over our way, though. That could be an issue. Trying to see if I can get a couple lucky shots on this Ersatz Yorck here. One ricochet, one pen, whatever. I want to know where these torpedo bombers are going. Okay, they're not going to me. Alright. Well, I guess we can turn in, because there's really not going to be much we can do over there. We'll be able to take out a Rodney, and that's about it. So, might as well just turn inwards and see what I can do from here. You can also use this island as cover against torpedo bombers. So right there, I mean, it was a pretty strong flat broadside, but I was still able to do a huge amount of damage. Your gun angles are not really that good either for the kind of armor you have. Yeah, you just slowly pick away at other ships. And there we go. Looks like Nagata likes us, but we are coming up on the illustrious here. See if our secondaries can do anything against her. They should actually be pretty decent, I would say. There we go, got some good secondary damage. Wow, we even ricocheted with one of our 380s. Interesting. So our AA is going full, well, as much as it can, but we're really not doing much. There we go, Citadel through the nose. And got a couple more. Alright, cool. Now what? Oh, torpedo bombers. Alright, let's keep going. Oh, we have 3 battleships over here. I did not know the Rodney was over here. So we're actually going to have to leave. Though we can try and work over these battleships, I guess. Well, assuming half of our shells don't miss. Might as well pop a heal, because by the time we need another one, we'll probably be almost dead. Though they don't seem very interested in shooting me, so I'll take what I can. So my secondaries are shooting up this Rodney and Nagato. They will do some damage. They're not completely useless, but it's not anything spectacular. I really hope this Rodney just doesn't decide to launch torpedoes at me. I've never seen a bot Rodney do that, but I could be surprised. We're going to focus our secondaries on the Nagato since we have a really good broadside on her. We're going to see if we can finish off this Nelson, or the Rodney. We got a Citadel. Yep, that hurts. We're going to have to pull back here, but we're going to try and slap each one of these ships in turn. Nagato, ooh, yep, that hurts. There we go. That's good. Time to go. But I might be able to use both sides if I angle enough. So yeah, we're just gonna try and angle out of here, which is fine. And these are the last 2 ships. As predicted, when our heal is up, we're almost dead. So it's a good thing we used that first one before. What is it like in front of me? We're good. Okay. So you just stopped randomly. Did you hit a wreck? Probably. There's one. So if you know where to shoot, she is pretty accurate, but you kind of still have to get close enough to be able to do a decent amount of damage to enemy ships. Ooh, this might hurt. Oh, it bounced. Nice. And that should be enough to finish off Rodney. Oh, but she is healing. Does not matter. Alright, cool. So there is a game with Ersatz Yorck. You're not especially powerful, but, I mean, you can still surprise enemy ships with how much firepower you can dish out. So we had 285,000 damage, 5 ships sunk, 96 shell hits, 7 aircraft shot down, 10 citadels, 3 defended caps, 203 secondary hits. So we did 255,000 damage in armor-piercing 15-inch guns. Secondary battery did 30,000 and a half damage, less than 4,000 with high explosive, and over or almost about 27,000 with armor piercing. So yeah, those casemates, those are the ones that are going to do a lot of damage. But like I said, 4-kilometer range really isn't all that much. So the best way to play the ship is just know what range you're best at. You can't really play at long range because you don't have the accuracy, and you can't really play at close range because you don't have the armor nor maneuverability. If you play mid-range, then you're just close enough to get slapped, and I mean, 4-kilometer secondaries are not really going to help you. That's pretty much close range. So you're just going to be an easier target because you can't move to try and dodge shells. So there's no really good playstyle for the ship, honestly, or at least not one that I've found out so far. She's kind of mediocre. As a German battlecruiser, I was hoping that they would have battlecruisers as an addition to the tech tree. But it does not seem like they're going to do that, considering they don't have many options for German battlecruisers, and this was one of the few options. So if they're just going to make them gem ships or prison ships or whatever else, then probably won't have an entire line. We'll just have a couple of singular battle cruisers that are out of the tech tree. But it remains to be seen. Maybe they'll still come up with something, who knows. With that, I will wrap up today's video. If you like the video, make sure you like and subscribe for further content, and join me tomorrow while we go over Warrior or Black Prince. So again, thank you so much, and take care.